Hello, I'm back. We're going to look at two more Nintendo DS games. Two more games that I really like and are among my favourites on the system. Just want to quickly start off by... so I forgot to do this last time, but I'm intending to... When I say I have a physical copy of a game, I always intend to show it off to prove that I do in fact have it. And last time I mentioned that I do have a physical copy of Project Rub. And here it is. Here's Project Rub, physical copy. So yeah, that's done. Right. Just a little bit of cleanup from last video. Because I mentioned that while I did sell off most of my handheld stuff, I did keep the games that are special to me. So, right, so this video we're going to look at two more games, and both of these games, I think both of these games are on my top 10. Unlike last video where we just looked at two very important launch titles that while I do like a lot, are not actually on my top 10. But this time we actually do start filling in the list. So let's just go to this screen, and you can already tell what game we're going to look at next. This is WarioWare Touched, which is another launch title for the DS, and is in fact secretly the best launch title. Mario 64 DS may have been the flagship launch game, but this was the best launch game. And just like Project Rub, I kept my physical copy. So... I believe this might also actually be the best WarioWare game as well. I tend to believe that this is a better launch game than Mario 64 DS, because this game does a much better job of like showing off the capabilities of the hardware than Mario 64 DS does. Mario 64 DS is like a traditional showpiece game. It's like we're going to show off the 3D capabilities of this platform that is honestly not a 3D powerhouse, and also have extremely limited touchscreen usage, which is kind of like one of the main things of the original DS. Whereas WarioWare Touched, every single inch of this game is dedicated to like making maximum use of every single possible unique feature the DS has. And I like this title screen because it's actually, the title screen itself is like a little toy. Little things start appearing, you can click and drag. You click the little noses to make them jump around. This is garlic. Grab hold of the garlic, grab hold of the star to make it. And click the water to get rid of it. Oh god, what the fuck is that? I think you can get stuff stuck in the nose. Yes, you can. Alright, I need to wait for another thing. Here we go. Nope. Oh, here comes the eraser. You get this little weird eraser that you can... Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Yes, got it. Fill up both nostrils to make it sneeze. This is a weird game. What a weird game. Like, already at the title screen, and this is just already, like, insane. I love it. Okay, so we're starting with a clean save here. On my physical copy, I have everything unlocked. Everything. I 100%ed this game on physical hardware. So, right, we are right-handed. To pause the game, press up on the control pad or press the start button. Cool. See what Wario's up to. So each character's selection of minigames in this game is centered around a specific function of the hardware. So I think Wario's is just pure touch based, whereas others may be more about using the microphone, or others are more about tapping and dragging. Okay, Wario's got to go to the... Look at that fucking tooth! Look at that tooth on the top screen! His evil, maniacal grin. Oh my god. Okay, now, little tutorial here. Oh, we get a close-up of Wario's rotten teeth. That's fucking disgusting. Yeah, that's how that works, isn't it? You drill out the cavities, and then your teeth are as good as new. It's not like you have to go through months and months of painful dental procedures to repair your teeth. No, just one random appointment and you're done. That's... Oh, here we go. So we're just, yeah. Wario's minigames are just about tapping. Just tapping the touchscreen. Very simple, basic. Yeah. Mechanical pencil. Unlike the previous WarioWare games in the series, this is about very short, like, mini games that take seconds to complete, and they come at you quick fire, and you have to complete them in like 5 seconds or less, with some exceptions. And they get faster and faster and faster, and one. And then you get like a boss stage that's a little bit more involved. That was the boss. That was it. That was the boss. I believe you can... This is like a simplistic version of the minigames. You can come back later to do much harder versions. I think this is still technically the tutorial. The first time you play through a selection of minigames, it's basically like a tutorial version of those style of minigames. Stay away from the sweets. What does he know? He's just a dentist. What the fuck is this? Alright, so we've just completed the first mini selection of minigames. Then Orbulon shows up. Okay. Forget the name. It's Mona and Jimmy T, I think? Jimmy T, yeah. So you get returning characters from the previous games, and there's a couple of new ones in here as well. We'll get you swaying and gyrating. Show Jimmy T what you got. score over 30 points. All right, let's look at Jimmy T's. So there are more mini games to do in Wario's selection here, so we can have a quick look, because they only give you, I think they give you like 8 randomly. I think each character has like 20 different possible mini games. And they are picked randomly as you go through, so it's we may very... Oh yeah, we're seeing new ones now. But now, because we've gone back into this character, we've completed the story, we can now go back in and do like a real run where it never stops until you fail. And they just keep getting faster and faster and faster and harder and harder and harder. Okay, we've done this one. It's that one. Okay. Now do the boss stage again, and after we do the boss stage, it'll keep going. I don't know, Wario. Yeah, you can tap on them on that screen to make them do a little animation. And we got harder versions. How long can we go? See if we can reach 20. This one changed. There's just something about the weird, like, irreverent humour in these games that I just love. Whip the horse, make it win! Yeah. Spell sun. S-U-N. There we go. That's the match. Okay, now we do a harder version of the boss. And every time you return to the boss, it'll be a little bit harder than before. Make him brush his teeth by tapping on him. There we go. Now we've got even harder versions. Oh shit. Okay. Still haven't messed up once. There we go. Don't know what's up with those cats. Oh, that was a trick. That one was short. That was a little one. Okay, get faster now. Big speed boost. The toilet. 988 plus 90 equals. There we go. Get out of it. Oh, this one. There it is. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to look at the top screen to make sure you're not missing information. Like, this one again. There's a limited number of times you can tap the screen. And you have to get all of the flies before you exceed that number of taps. Otherwise, the screen breaks and it... Make him brush his teeth. There we go. See if we can get above 30. We won't do this for every character, but I just want to see how far you can get. There we go. Got it. Oh, just. This one. Ah, too slow. Hang on. Let's swap this template. So this template's cool, but what if we were to just, I don't know, do this? Get a bigger screen. Oh shit. 1, 2, 3. Oh, just. Find the bottle. This one. Calculate. 388 minus 58 equals. Oh god, what's this one going to look like? Got it. That wasn't that hard. That wasn't that hard. Got a life back. Make him brush his teeth. Okay, now I think we're in the shit. Now I think I'm going to start losing a lot. Here we go. Poke the tree bugs. There we go. They're camouflage, but you can see them. Spell bed. B-E-D. There we go. Fuck. Oh. That was not hard, you just need to do it. This one. There we go. Oh my god, it's going so fast now. This one. Stop moving. Fuck off. Come here. Stop moving. Got you. Okay. Yeah, I got close there to the limit. Make him brush his teeth again. Go. Got it. That's a new one. Got it. Ah, too slow. This one. Oh my god. What? 49... Fuck. 497. Not... Shit. Here we go. Oh, you motherfucker. Jukin. Come on, you fuck. Fuck! Stay still, you shit! Okay. Got it. Oh. This one. too slow. That was easy. Ah, too slow. Oh well, 59's not bad. 59 is not bad. Alright. Cool. Oh, you get something else as well for going back in and getting a high score. You get like an extra thing. So here's like a little toy you can unlock. It's not a mini game. It's just like little toy. There's this weird flashlight that draws in colours, which is conceptually kind of interesting, you know. That's it. That's all this does. It's just you can draw in coloured lines. That's it. And there's this one. Roll the snowman. Till he gets big enough. That's that. That's the entire thing. Just a little weird little toy you can mess around with. You can move those to your toy box or your toy room. Just so they stop cluttering up the main screen. Alright, let's go do Jimmy. Let's see what Jimmy's got. Dance Club Rub. Alright, so these minigames involve rubbing, not just tapping.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jimmy's showtime!
Oh no, Jimmy's wider family. Oh no, he's got a bee in his hair. Get out of it, you shit. Okay, erase the chalkboard. Okay. That's it. Pet the dog. So all his mini games involve scratching or rubbing. Oh, we've got a coin. It's a coin with a toilet on it, of course. Whoops. Oh, I fucked that up. God damn it. Accidentally resized the window. Whoops. There we go. Shake the tree. Get all the bugs out. Spin the plates, keep it spun up. Okay. Rescue the princess. Clean the window. These are good. Create some static electricity to attract the dirt. Alright, what's the boss in this thing? What is the boss of Jimmy's stage? Rub the rainbow. Oh, so you need to fill the bucket up with rainbow stuff. There's some weird graphical glitches here. There's a weird like light grey box around the bucket that's not there on real hardware. Fill the bucket. Fill the bucket with rainbows. There we go.
Wow.
And that's it for Jimmy's stage. There's literally no one else there. What is this weird band up the top? Sweet scratching skills. Catch you at the club. Alright, we'll do Mona next. What is this new? What is this? Oh, you tap and move around the touchscreen and they kind of just swarm around where you're touching. That's it. That's the entire thing. It's the entire... Wait, what does the little thing say? They hunger. Don't touch the screen. They're hungry. No, it's too late. They're all over me. Ah, get them. Get them off. Ah. This game is so strange. But then again, all of the WarioWare games are like super strange. It's like weird, like irreverent humour. Cute cuts. So I'm guessing this Her Minigame collection is like a series of cutting things in half, I bet. Or dividing things. Okay. Sugary Sonic Nuggets. Oh, it's the woman from the dance club. At least I think that's her.
You should be afraid of the great Ashley.
Okay. Highlight artist. this Mona's rival. Mona's always got like different jobs in every game. I think she started out as like a delivery driver. Then she was like, I guess she was like a pop singer. At some point she's a reporter. She's like, I want to say like almost every game she has a completely different job. Okay, so she is still technically a delivery driver, but she does like pop singing on the side, I guess? I don't know. Is that it? Nope. It's that big yellow guy on the top. This is a really long intro, like wow. This is a really long cutscene. We haven't even gotten to the minigames yet, like what? This one just goes. .1 and 4.2. Okay. Slice the fruit. Is this pre-Fruit Ninja? Did Fruit Ninja steal its entire thing from WarioWare Touched? Okay, this is a combination of slicing and clicking and dragging. Okay. Snip the snot. Gross. That's an update of a classic WarioWare minigame. Capture the duck. Here we go. Rotate the totem. Pass.
Cool.
Ugh. That one's a bit gross.
Loves me, loves me, loves me, loves me.
Oh, I got a strike. They gave you a maximum of 3 balls to do that, but I did it in 1. Oh wow, it's fast.
Everybody, give it up for Mona and the Hot Slices!
I like the security guards. You know, you're like a pop star, you don't have to do that job anymore? Like, okay. I suppose this is like the explanation for why she's on the stage instead of Mona then. Okay. Some good 2005 era mobile phones being thrown there. Okay, no, okay, they're both on the stage now. Alright. Who we got next? Who's this? Jimmy T's sister? I don't think his family has ever shown up again in any of the later games. I might be wrong, but I think this might be the only time they've ever appeared in a game. So you get to do like a remix. Some of the previous minigames. I believe that's what his family serve as, like remix collections. Yes, we've got some of Mona's minigames here. Combined with some of Wario's. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Stretch out that giraffe.
Oh yeah!
Okay. How many of these do we have to do before we unlock the next one? Ow. That one's gross. I don't like that one. That one's just gross. Just keep them going until the timer runs out. There we go. Oh shit. 1, 2, 3. Got it. 4. Okay. Boss stage. What's this one going to be? Oh, it's the fly one again. Okay. Is this going to have anything different about it? No. Easy. So basically they're just a collection of like a mix of different mini games from some of the previous characters. That's it. Not that hard. Not that difficult to understand. Who'd we unlock now? Who's next? Oh, the piano, I think. Dr. Crygor, Ashley, and one of the ninjas. Okay. So this is, I believe this is Ashley's first appearance in the WarioWare universe. Oh, we got 2 new toys. What do we get? Oh, we got the metronome. That's literally all it is. It's just a metronome. There's nothing like, again, it's not really a game or a mini game. It's just a metronome that you can adjust and, you know, that's it. Fastest you can make it. That's the fastest it'll go, I think. 218. This does something. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really much of a metronome user. Oh, this... I see. So this is like... So like a little bell goes off every 4 beats. One-to-one doesn't do anything. Yeah. That's it. It's just a little metronome. That's all that is. Okay. And this is just a tiny fraction of a piano. Like, it's not even a full piano. Like, you can't even hit the black keys. No, look, see? I'm trying to hit that black key, but it's just doing the 2 white keys either side. So it's a pretty lackluster little piano toy there. Okay. Let's look at Ashley. New character. First appearance. Her one is weird because her theme song has lyrics. Add the ingredients. Crystal, apple, lizard, weird onion thing. I think her mini games are about about tapping and dragging. Tapping and dragging. Not clicking and dragging, tapping and dragging. Alright, here we go.
Wicked.
That's right, her song has lyrics, which is super weird. Okay, click and okay, tap and drag, tap and drag. You could sneeze. There we go. A lot of like nose and toilet related mini games in the WarioWare series. Oh, pissing statue. Put out the fire. One of the very, very few Nintendo games that acknowledge the existence of pissing. Ooh. Catch the drip. Ooh. Ooh. Fix the bridge to let the little penguin across. Catch the fish. Catch the ball. Oh god, there we go. Got the fat guy, drop him. What's her boss stage? Something to do with a planet? Yes. Yes, it's Earth. So you're tapping and dragging on the Earth to have it dodge the incoming bullets from the alien watermelons. Oh god, oh god. There we go, all the way down. Watch the bullets. Okay, oh my god, there's a spaceman. We've got to save the spaceman from the asteroids. Only when he gets onto the bottom screen. There we go. We saved the spaceman. Okay, now we have a moon, and our moon is shooting bullets. That's it. Victory, I think. That's a weird one. That's probably one of the more like interesting minigame collections in this game. I like this because she's at the dance club, but she's just not dancing. She's just standing there. She has no interest in dancing. It's a nice little touch. Makes sense. Okay. Do Dr. Crygor next. Dr. Crygor's lab is way out in the ocean. Well, way out. More like just offshore, I guess.
Very nice.
Insert the remains of an apple. Get an apple. Like, this is actually maybe an amazing invention. Like, Dr. Crygor has basically solved world hunger here. Uh-oh. So I'm guessing Dr. Crygor's minigames are all spinning based. Oh god. There we go. Reel in the fish.
Yes.
Swirl. Okay. Rescue the cat. These ones are pretty good. I like these ones already. No, didn't find it. It's a partial signal. Okay. Tilt. There we go. Munch. Oh, fuck. Dodge the arrow. Got it. Good enough. Good enough. It's just inside the lines, it counts. That one's awkward. Again, trying to do this with a mouse is a little difficult. Okay. That was interesting. Alright, those are like... interesting. The whole turning thing is a bit more, you know, demanding than just tapping or swiping. I don't think I want Dr. Crygor taking over the galaxy. It's not. That doesn't sound like a good idea. Not with those dance moves. Okay. What do we unlock? Okay, we've got 2 new toys. What is this? Just a chameleon. Oh, that's weird. His eye follows you when you tap and drag on the screen. Interesting. I get it, yeah, and then he... That, again, like, this is it. This is it. The critterific pet chameleon. He looks at you when you tap and drag on the screen. His tongue goes out when you tap in a specific area, and he will adapt to different backgrounds you drag down. That's it. That's the entire toy. This feels more like a collection, like a very large collection of very simple tech demos. But a very large collection of simple tech demos that have a sense that has like a bizarre sense of humour. The Big Hurl. Oh, this is just an adaptation of the Dr. Crygor minigame. Come on now. Whoop. No. Oh well. Don't care. Move. Don't care. Move. Get out of there. Right, let's take it. Okay. Cat and Anna. Katana. Get it? Haha. Oh, it's both of them. Okay, I thought it was just one of them, but... Test your scribbling skills. Okay. Oh no, the bananas. The monkey stole the bananas. That little shit. Gone to catch the banana thief. Like what? Like, what do they want me to actually write? I don't know. Yeah? That it? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until it tells me to stop. No, I'm just going to fill up the screen. Okay. Okay. That was enough for it, apparently. Alright. Squeeze the ketchup. Divide. There we go. What's up, baby? That one's good. I like that one. That's funny. Ooh. Make sure you go through the flags. What's next? Connect. There we go. Oh no, we caught Santa. Draw. Good enough. Close enough. Whatever. Good enough. There we go. Circle the answer. Wasn't 100% sure what you were supposed to do there. Let's just search. Okay. Drag the fuse to the fire. Alright, what's the boss? Oh, this is cool. Okay, I know what this is. Yeah. Draw a trampoline for the weird fleshy lump. Gross. Not the weird fleshy lump. Okay, we're just gonna, like, adopt wild animals from the forest and not acknowledge all the problems that that causes. Really want to do Mike. I hope Mike shows up. If Mike shows up next, we'll do his and that's it, but yeah. Is it Mike or another remix? Might be another remix. It's another remix. Yeah, not interested. Nah, I think we'll leave it there. You get the idea. There's more to see and unlock than what I've shown here. Like I mentioned before, there are a lot more mini-games for each character, but you have to play through them a second time. After, you know, the first time is really just a tutorial for that style of mini-game. You only really get the real meat of a character's mini-games if you go and click on them a second time and try and get as far as you can, like we did with Wario at the start. And there's a lot more, like, weird mini-game, like weird toys to unlock. Here we go, is a more fleshed out version of that mini-game from Cat and Anna's. You just draw the... Whoops. Oh god, nearly. Oh god, there, oh, missed it. That's that. Move. Get out of here. Yeah, so that's WarioWare Touched. I love WarioWare Touched. I think it is personally my favourite game in the franchise. Some people might say micro games, mega micro games for the GameCube is their favourite. I could totally see that, and I like the GameCube one as well. But I think this first DS one, is my personal favourite of the franchise. This is just great, fantastic little game. And secretly the best launch game. So, anyway, let us return to our standard layout. Let's change the game over. And first of all, let us add this to the list, because I did say both of these games were on my top 10. So let's go over here to the Real Blue Dragon's top 10 DS games, and let's input WarioWare Touched. WarioWare Touched occupies... Hang on, where has it gone? Position... Hang on. I just copy and paste, that'd be easier. WarioWare Touched occupies... position 8 on my top 10 list. That's where Wario Touched lives. WarioWare Touched. That's right, we're not doing these in order. So, that is a top 10 game. There are at least 7 more games for the DS that I like more than WarioWare Touched. And remember, just because a game I'm showing in these videos is not on this list doesn't mean I don't really like it. Like the previous 2 games we looked at in the previous video, that neither of those are on this list, but I do really like both of those games. So don't think of this as some kind of like, oh, if it's not on the list, it doesn't mean it means he doesn't like it. It's like, no, that's not the case. Okay, let's boot up the next one. This is fantastic, because this is actually a very important game for certain reasons. Now, I'm going to get some people are going to be like, this is technically not a DS game. This is actually a port of a Game Boy Advance game. So putting it on your top 10 DS series is a bit, misleading, because it's actually a Game Boy Advance game. And to that I will answer, the Game Boy Advance versions only came out in Japan. The vast majority of the world first encountered these games on the DS. So I'm going to say 3/4 of everyone who played these games played them on DS first, because the Game Boy Advance versions were not available in their region. So it gets a position as an honorary Nintendo DS game. We are, of course, talking about Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. That's right, if you didn't know. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney started out on the Game Boy Advance in Japan, and then got a fantastic port to the DS a couple years later. This was like a 2003 for the Game Boy Advance. 2003, and then this DS port came out in 2005. So Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is a very important game for a couple reasons. A, it's the first game in a very long-running and very popular series from Capcom that has, at this point, close to a dozen sequels of varying quality, but none of them are straight up bad. But Phoenix Wright is straight up, the Phoenix Wright series rather, is straight up responsible, almost single-handedly responsible for making visual novels acceptable in the West. For those who don't know, visual novels are a style of interactive, like, story game that is like 90% dialogue. A lot of them are 100% dialogue. That are usually like anime/manga themed, like with anime/manga themed art styles. They're very, very, very popular in Japan. Have been popular in Japan since like the 80s, but have never really caught on in the West until Phoenix Wright, because they were viewed as like, for some very good reasons, creepy weeaboo shit. Shall we just say? A lot of visual novels, a lot of them are just straight up porn games. And Phoenix Wright, I mean, not all of them. A lot of them were quite wholesome, were not that, but unfortunately the entire genre kind of had a stigma around it as being, you know, like, a little bit too Japanese, a little bit too creepy weeaboo shit. So very, very, very few people in Europe and America, and I suppose other non-Japanese speaking regions, would actually play these things. And Phoenix Wright started the process of making these games popular in Europe and America, mainly because I'm not going to say they are completely 100% wholesome. There is a little bit of that weirdness in there, but it's incredibly it is minimal. It is ultra minimal. So, you know, you don't have to worry about, say you're playing this on a DS and, like, you know, a family member looking over your shoulder and them seeing something you would be embarrassed, you know, for them to see, that sort of thing. There are totally other visual novels on the DS that do that. One of them we might look at another point is another very, very popular DS visual novel game that's a little bit more creepy than Phoenix Wright, but again, not that much more creepy. So anyway, let's get started. One of my favourite things about this this title screen is down here. You can just you switch languages, and it acknowledges that you switch the language by just having objection appear, and you hear the word objection shouted out in the selected language. So there we go. So we switched it to English. So Phoenix Wright is a series. Basically, you are an attorney, a defense attorney, and your job is to prove your defendants innocent of a crime while at the same time finding out who really did it. Like, they're like detective stories, but you're not a detective. You're a defense attorney who's like a detective on the side, like an unofficial detective. It just so happens in order to, you know, properly do his job, he has to do a bunch of shit as well on top of his normal job, because apparently the police in this world are borderline incompetent. So he has to do their job for them. You don't have to use the touchscreen for most of this game. They added an extra chapter to the DS version that wasn't in the original Game Boy Advance version, and that additional extra chapter at the end of the game does contain a bunch of like DS, like touchscreen specific like mechanics, but only that one chapter. So these games, like a couple years ago, I want to say, got like a like a remaster, like an HD remaster release that came out on all like major consoles and Steam that basically has like much higher res versions of this artwork. And I looked at some of that. I actually bought that on Steam a little while ago, and I compared it, and I'm honestly extremely mixed on that recent re-release. Because I'm going to say that obviously Capcom at some point either lost or just no longer has the original high-res art assets for these games. And so in order to release these games in like an HD collection, like a remastered collection, they had to basically go in and do a combination of redrawing the art and using like AI upscaling software, which creates very, very mixed results. And so, for example, this scene that we're seeing here, hang on, let me increase the size a little bit. So this room that Phoenix and Mia are standing in right now with the two police officers in the door, what they would do, they would take this what I think they did, they probably took this raw low res asset image of the background, ran that through an upscaler, and then wherever the details looked really fucked up or wrong, they had an artist come in and just kind of correct it a little bit. And that works, but the parts of the image where they chose not to have an artist correct it look really fucked up and bad. And like this image in the background here, this framed picture above the sofa behind Mia is, if you look at that on like the HD remaster collection, that is very, very obviously like it's full of like upscaling artifacts and stuff. It's very obviously not a clean drawing. You know what I mean? It screams AI upscaling, and it's which is a bummer. Which makes me think that Capcom just no longer has the original art assets that they used for these backgrounds. You know, which is a bummer. And also the fact that they didn't do it with any of the character sprites. They used real artists to redraw the character sprites at a higher resolution, but that has the effect of altering the art style. And so while the character sprites are the correct they're the correct, like, you know, like facial expressions and animations and stuff like that, but there's something about the art style that is different. It's changed slightly, like it's somebody else's interpretation of this specific sprite drawn at a higher resolution, and it's kind of a bummer. I know why they would do it. I know this is a thing that only affects people who never played the original DS games. This only affects those people. If you've never played the original DS games, ignore everything I'm saying. Go and play the new releases. They're great. If you're like me and you played the shit out of the original DS games and you know what the art is supposed to look like, and then you go in and you see all the AI upscaled bullshit, and all like the weird, the slightly different, the slightly changed art style to everything, it feels bad, man. But that's just a concern for me and people like me. I am a victim of my own nostalgia. You know what I mean? I would not have a single problem with those re-releases if I hadn't played these games, and I am jealous of the people who are playing these games for the first time in the high-res re-releases, because they are just going to have a fantastic time and they're not going to think about this stuff at all. Whereas, you know, I have avoided playing them much at all, because every time I come to a different background or a new art asset that's been like upscaled or redrawn, I'm in there, I'm looking, I'm going, wow, how's this different? How is this wrong? Oh my god. It's like it's a sickness. I am sick. I need to just accept the fact that it was a necessary thing that Capcom had to do to even put those games out. So I need to just get over that at some point. Anyway, let's keep going. So, people should not use examples of lore depicted in this game as a guide for real life lore, because this shit is not realistic. There's a lot of really weird shit involving like court proceedings and law and stuff like that, which is not applicable to real life and is written specifically for dramatic purposes in these games. So, you know, sometimes in order to justify certain actions, the writers of these games will pull some real shit out of their ass. You know what I mean? Just purely for the sake of drama. That kind of stuff, which doesn't happen in real life courtrooms and never should. Okay, this is Larry Butts. This is a reoccurring character. This is Phoenix's childhood friend. And your first case in this game, your tutorial case, I guess, for this game, Chapter 1, is finding this man innocent of murder. Maybe not a good thing to say, Larry. I love the fact that his first name is Larry, but they just call him Butts. But they call Phoenix by his first name. But they call Larry by his second name, which is, you know, a bit mean. This game also has like an extremely iconic soundtrack. And one of the... Oh, there's just something about this sound, this music, these sound effects, this sound font in general, which is just... Oh, it's like a warm, comfy blanket every time I hear it. It's like, ah, yes, take me back to 2005 or 2006. That era, the mid to late 2000s. One of the correct things they did for the high-res remaster that they put out was they did not mess with the music at all. The music in the newer versions of these games is identical. Like, they straight up recreate the sound of the DS's sound chip. I want to say the tracks in the new version are just pre-recorded MIDIs of the DS sound chip. Like, it sounds identical. They didn't try and do like, oh, let's remix the music and potentially ruin it. No, they just took the music exactly as it is from these games and just copied, paste, done, perfect. It's like, oh, thank God. Because there is totally a world where the people remastering these games are like, let's do the music again. Let's do the music with all new, higher res MIDI or completely different sounding MIDI files, or let's, you know, remix it completely and then end up ruining the music. But thank God they didn't do that. So this woman has been murdered. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her, which was Larry here. Best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the butts. Oh, so he's a victim of bullying. I see. 23 years I've known him. Okay. So I want to say Phoenix, in this game at least, Phoenix is in his late 20s. He's like 27 or 28. So he's quite young for like a full-time defense lawyer. Because, you know, you got to spend a long time going to school if you want to be, you know, an attorney or a lawyer or something. Are lawyers and attorneys exactly the same thing, or is there like a slight difference? I don't know. This is primarily like American, like, phrases. We don't call them lawyers in England, we call them solicitors. You don't contact your lawyer, you say, contact my solicitor. That sort of thing. So I guess we can use the term lawyer as well, but it depends on the context. What I'm trying to ask is, are 100% of lawyers also attorneys? And are 100% of attorneys also lawyers? Like, is it literally just an interchangeable term? Is it just a pure synonym? Because I don't know. Also, fun fact about this game, the localization of these first 2 or 3 games is sort of fucked. And I do believe it's something that they did not fix. Maybe? I don't actually know for sure. I want to say they didn't fix it for the recent remasters. Whereas in the original Japanese versions of these games are set in Japan. But for the Western release, they localized the game in a way so that they rewrote it so that they have it set in America instead of Japan. And that kind of really like the localizers accidentally like stabbed themselves in the back by doing that, because a very large portion of the second game takes place in a traditional Japanese village, and the sheer amount of bending over backwards that the localizers have to do in the second game to justify why there is a traditional Japanese village in America is amazing. It's really something they should have thought harder about. The localization team should have thought harder about when localizing this game. Like, hey, there is some stuff in this game that is very specifically Japanese. Like, you've got straight up Shinto priestesses in this game. There's no reason for a Shinto priestess to be in America. But nope, they did it anyway. But then in the second game, now we're going to the village where the Shinto priestess lives, and it's an extremely traditional Japanese-looking village, and it's like, we've screwed ourselves, haven't we? Because now we've got to explain why this is in America. Whoops! I want to say at some point they didn't. They stopped trying to write around it, and at some point they just put up their hands and said, no, we give up. From now on, these games are just going to be straight translations. We're not going to try and bother localizing the plot. And they didn't even try and adapt it back to the normal plot. At some point they cut themselves loose. They wrote themselves into a corner, so they had to just cut those earlier games loose and start afresh with the newer ones with just more accurate translations. And I want to say those translations were not fixed for the recent re-releases. I could be wrong, though. Maybe they did actually do the work. Maybe if I was to actually play through those re-releases, I would find out that they've changed the scripting back to the original Japanese intention. Also, it makes a lot of the drama in the courtroom make a lot more sense as well if you set the games in Japan, because in Japan, murder is an extremely ultra serious crime that is, I don't know how it is now, but in the early to mid 2000s, Japan still had the death penalty, and murder was an almost guaranteed death penalty. I don't know what it is now. I don't really keep up with Japanese crime law. But murder is an extremely, is an almost guaranteed death penalty, at least in the 2000s in Japan. So, it makes the stakes seem it makes the stakes make a lot more sense, because it gets very, very you are literally fighting for these people's lives, Also, then there's the whole controversy around the percentage of convictions for murder trials. Japan has an incredibly high conviction rate for suspected murderers, like so much higher than almost any other country, and you have to accept the fact that there is a very good chance that a lot of the people that they are convicting as guilty are actually innocent. I think it's like in the high 90s. It's like 97, 98, 99% of all murder charges end up in a conviction, whether or not the person is actually guilty or not, which is super fucked up considering the potential of, like, you know, at the time, an almost guaranteed death sentence. And that is something that is still kind of controversial in Japan now. Please select the name of the defendant. Larry Butts is my defendant. Yeah, so this first case really serves as more as a tutorial, really, than a real case, because most of the speech checks are like very heavily signposted, like, hey, like, this is something you absolutely know, wink wink, sort of thing. They're just kind of just making sure that you are aware of, like, the basics, because you do actually have to pay attention to the story and all the details sometimes, especially in the later chapters where it actually gets really hard. You have to pay attention, otherwise you might end up completely missing a vitally important clue that helps you even, like, clear the chapter. Court record. So this is where you keep all of your evidence that you gather over a case. So we've got two things in the court record. You've got the attorney badge, and you've got the case file. Oh no, the autopsy report. So yeah, received from Mia Fey, Cindy's autopsy report. So her name is Cindy. Cause of death: loss of blood. There's a weird kerning error in the word blood there. The gap between those two zeros is too big. It's bothering me. Yeah, loss of blood due to blunt force trauma. Time of death. The date it happened. We've got profiles. We've got all the people. Cindy Stone, 22. She lived in an apartment by herself. So again, this is all, like, this could be relevant information. You need to go through this because there will probably be speech checks during the case, the hearing, that requires you to know some of this stuff. So you've got to read through it. Here's 27, 23. Okay, so Phoenix is probably in his mid-20s then. He's like 24 then, 23, 24, because he's meant to be the same age as Larry. That makes him very young to be doing what he's doing. Oh my god. He's to be doing what he's doing at that age, at 23, must make him some kind of wunderkind or something. Yeah, you need to... Who is the victim in this case? It's Cindy. Cinderblock. No, Cindy Stone. Blunt force trauma to the head. Blunt object. One of the reasons why these games did so well, despite being a genre that traditionally didn't do well at all in the West, is because just the writing in these games is just so strong. The characters are likable, the writing is good, the stories are just, like, the cases and the events are just interesting enough to hold your attention, despite being not too crazy. They're very, like... There's nothing too crazy in these games. Like, you know, there's no sexual assault, you know, there's no, just, you know, just good old wholesome murder. Nothing too creepy for, like, shall we say, primarily an American audience, because we know how Americans treat, like, violence versus sex. Americans would much rather deal with hardcore violence than any kind of, like, sexual themes. It's okay to have a game full of, you know, murder and blood, as long as there's no kinky shit. I should also... Yes, I have physical copy of Phoenix Wright right here. Complete with my... It's complete. I didn't take anything out of this. Nothing is missing. So you've got your warranty booklet. You've got your little advertising booklet that shows off, like, other games coming out around the time. Got your Nintendo VIP points card, which I think I mentioned in a previous video. This one is unscratched. Unscratched VIP points card. Hell yeah, put that on eBay. Even though the service for, like, cashing in those points is, like, decades gone. An extremely thick manual, because it's got a... Despite this game only having 2 languages... This manual accounts for, like, 4 languages, I want to say. Hang on. Yeah, so it's English, French, I want to say German, and oh my god, is it Swedish? I don't know. I don't know what the 4th language is. So the manual has 4 languages, despite the game only having 2, so they are expecting at least 2 of those languages to be fluent in either English or French. So interesting, very interesting. I wonder if there is a separate version of this European ROM that caters to those other 2 languages. I know some games do that. There are European ROMs that don't have English on them. Pay attention to any evidence. So we've just been issued another piece of evidence. A statue in the shape of the Thinker. It's rather heavy. Submitted as evidence. We can't really zoom in or look at it or anything. That is something we will be able to do. You can do, I believe, in the last chapter, the DS exclusive chapter at the end of the game, does allow you to take a closer look at all the evidence and, like, zoom in on it and examine it and in, like, a 3D view. These first 4 or 5 chapters are extremely faithful to the original Game Boy Advance versions, where it is, you know, there's not really much or even any, like, dedicated DS input stuff. Well, I have just realised you can tap and swipe on the case record here to go between. You don't have to actually click the arrows, you can just swipe. That's interesting. Okay. Back out. God, where was I in 2005? I'd finished school. I want to say that was the year between me finishing school and me going to college, because I took a year off from education. And the only thing I did that year, I'd started a new job in I started a new job in late 2004. And I didn't start going to college until mid 2006. So I had basically a year and a half between education, just to kind of figure out what it is I wanted to do with my life. And Fun fact, I never figured out what I wanted to do with my life. That job I got in 2000 and at the end of 2004, I still have today. It's the same fucking job. I work at the same business, doing not the same thing. I've worked my way up a little bit in that business, but I am still at the same company doing a very, very, similar sort of thing that I started doing in late 2004. It has been almost 20 fucking years and I'm still there. So I never really quite figured out, that was a job I started as like a placeholder. Like, okay, I'll do this part-time job. I'll spend a little bit of time thinking about what I want to do. Do I want to, and once I get an idea for the sort of thing I actually want to do, then I'll go to college and do a course that focuses on that thing that I want to do, and then I'll go from there. I went to college for 2.5 years. I passed all 3 courses that I took and proceeded to do fucking nothing with them. At some point in my life, I decided I wanted to do something, do something with IT, computers, whatever. I like computers. Let's do a job that involves me using a computer. So, 2.5 years later, 3 courses down. What do I decide to do? I decide to stay at my job, which doesn't really involve computers at all, like barely at all. So, good use of my time. And I don't really feel bad about it. I'm thinking about it now, like I'm 35. I don't hate my job. It's not an amazing job, but I don't hate it. I work decent hours. I make enough money to pay my bills and live comfortably. I've got a fucking mortgage off of it, so at the end of the day, sometimes you don't need to aim high in order to be happy. Some people, especially in certain parts of the world, are very like, oh my god, I must achieve these life goals or I'm a failure. Oh my god. And it's like, got a part-time job, went to college for a few years, didn't really do anything with it, stayed at the part-time job, got full-time hours, got a better position in the company, got a mortgage, still there, don't really care, I'm happy. If only life was so simple for most people. I'm pretty damn lucky, actually. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on about random shit that has got absolutely nothing to do with this game. I just got stuck thinking about where I was in 2005 and then started comparing that in my head to where I am now. And, and some people might say I'm a failure because I haven't had, honestly, that much upward movement in my career. But I don't care. Like I said, I don't hate my job, which I think is all you can really truly ask. You don't, people think, oh no, I've got to get a job that I love, otherwise I won't be able to bear working, and that's simply not true. Just get a job that you don't actively hate, and that's usually enough, And as long as you are making enough money to live comfortably, and you don't completely despise your job or the people you work with, I say you've got yourself a pretty, even if the job itself is not a particularly glamorous one. My job's not glamorous at all. It's not exactly a job that people strive for, but because it's not a job that people strive for, keeping my job is relatively easy because there's very little competition around trying to take my job, because it is widely seen as undesirable. But it's, not that bad. It's a little bit dull at times, but I don't hate it. And like I say, I make enough money off it to live comfortably, so. Okay, new evidence added. Passport. Indeed, she appears to have returned the day before the murder. Do what makes you happy. That's really the moral of the story. If what makes you happy is not you know, find the pleasure in simple things. You don't have to be like a hyper achiever in order to be happy and pay bills. That's not really necessary. The victim wasn't, at least not in this country. I don't know how it is in certain other countries in the West, but at least in England, it is not necessary for you to be, it's not necessary for you to work yourself half to death just to stay afloat. It appears that she had several quote-unquote sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who give her money and gifts. Uh-oh, your girlfriend was seeing other dudes. Uh-oh, Larry didn't know. You can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now? And this is where Larry is a complete idiot, because he will tend to just run his mouth and say some really damn incriminating shit that he doesn't actually mean. Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. So here we go. Another speech check, okay. Or rather just a check. Stop him from answering. That question is irrelevant. You're trying to, like, coax him into an emotional response. I see what you're doing, Pain. That cheating she-dog. Nice. Obviously, I think the original script, he says bitch, but, you know, because that's what bitch is a female dog. So when somebody says that cheating she-dog, what they really mean is that cheating bitch. Jesus Christ. Larry, shut up. I believe the accused motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Sorry for dumping a whole bunch of, like, weird personal shit on everyone watching this video. It's not really what you want to hear. Sorry about that. Gulp. Well, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did, and maybe I didn't. Uh-oh, he went there. He did show up at the crime scene. What do I do? Okay. So you can just use the D-pad and buttons to select answers, as well as the touchscreen. So you don't want to do the same things you did last time, because this is a thing that he actually has to answer this question. So you force him to answer honestly. Send him a signal. Told the truth. I love that all of the what's the term? You've got defense lawyers, and you've got, what's the other term for the other lawyer? The offense lawyer? No. I know the term it's the side is usually referred to as the offense, but you know. I don't know what the official term for him is. Maybe it really is just the offense lawyer. I don't know. Maybe that it sounds wrong in my mind. For all I know, it could be the correct name for his position. Prosecution would like to call a witness. Let's call our witness. The man who found the body. He saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. Order in the court. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness. Frank Sawit. Oh, this dude is shady as fuck. You sell newspaper subscriptions, is this correct? Oh yes, newspapers, yes. Mr. Sawit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Alright, here we go. Witness testimony. Going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately, however the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly, it was 1 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. Oops. What do you mean you can't? Okay. Something you find out in these early games that Phoenix Wright has a real, like, confidence problem. Like, he's good at what he does, but he doesn't believe in himself. He gets really disheartened really quickly. She's using a cordless phone. That's why it wasn't working during the blackout. Because cordless phones require a separate power source. Have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Blackout record added. Cool, we'll look at that in a sec. Okay, let's have a look at this quickly. Blackout record submitted as evidence. Electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon. Again, there's that weird kerning error between the double O, which is bothering me. His building was out from no on to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Okay, so out for 6 hours. That's a long time for a power outage. Like a major, like, built-up area. 36. Discovered Miss Stone's body. Newspaper salesman who saw Larry flee the scene. Okay, what's this? Passport. The victim apparently arrived home from Paris on the 30th of July, day before the murder. Okay. You begin your cross-examination. More good music. Like, this entire soundtrack is great. It's just, it just reaches directly into my brain and just, I love it. The DS has such a... DS games in general have such a specific sound to them. So, if your client is truly innocent, then the man must be lying. You've got to find the holes in his testimony. Find the contradictions. Find the shit that doesn't make sense. It's in the evidence. Yeah, you've got to compare the statements that he makes to what the evidence shows. Find a contradiction between the court record and the witness's testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay, touch the court record button and point out contradictions in the testimony. Okay. Cross-examination. Here we go. So here's a fun thing that's only in the DS version of the game. You can actually you can press him for more details, or you can use the microphone and actually say hold it into the microphone, and that'll do the same thing. But it's completely optional. You don't have to do that. Was mad and yet frightened at the same time, just like a criminal fleeing the scene of a crime. The witness refrained from conjecture. Okay, I thought he must be in a hurry, so if I hold down the Y button, you can then say, hold it. Damn it, I thought I keyed up the microphone. Hold it? No. Okay, for some reason, I thought hang on a second. Microphone settings, internal noise sample, yes. Maybe this is actually doing like actual voice recognition and not just looking at a waveform for specific peaks. If that's the case, then we're not going to be able to do this with white noise by itself. Which is fine, but yeah, typically you would just say hold it into the microphone and it would do exactly the same thing as clicking the press button, which is like a fun little gimmick. So I'm going to press him on every statement. Inside the apartment. Why? Why did you look in the apartment? Nosy? What gave you the idea to do that? Well, the door was half open, you see. Isn't it only human to want to peek? We climb mountains because they are there. It's the same thing. Truer words have never been spoken. Would look fatal to anyone. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. The phone in their apartment wasn't working. I'm just going to press every single statement. It's usually the wisest thing to do. Just to make sure that you get all the information you can before you make any decisions. See, even though he's technically hasn't contradicted the evidence just yet, at the moment he is sounding rather shaky. And he's obviously hiding something. I don't have a cell phone. And being in the middle of the afternoon, there was no answer at the nearby apartments. Alright, what time did you call again? I remember the time exactly. It was 1 PM. 1 PM, are you certain? Absolutely. He seems really confident. 1 PM. Ah. Right, doesn't that seem strange to you? Present some evidence to contradict him. Okay, so we found a piece of his statement that is of his testimony that doesn't make sense for some reason, so we're going to go into the evidence. We're going to look at some shit. Time of death, 4 p.m. So she died at the absolute earliest at 4 p.m, but he's saying he found the body at 1 p.m. So we're going to present this. The autopsy notes the time of death at sometime after 4 p.m. There was no body to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? I like the animations, the character animations, the sprites. They get a little bit more like sweaty and they start moving more quickly as they get more and more nervous. It's a nice touch. His testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. Sawit, why are you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m? Gee, that's really good question. Point out the contradictions. See through this one and their whole story falls apart. Found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a taped program. How convenient. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. That seems awfully fucking shaky. Like, that's not... You can't submit that as hard evidence. That's not good enough. Right, okay. Cross-examination, here we go. When I found the body, I heard the time. You said heard, not saw. Yes, heard. All I saw was the body lying there. Didn't think to look at anything else, least of all my watch. Isn't that a little strange? So you're saying you heard something? But if you were so shocked by the body, you wouldn't hear anything at all. The witness did say he actually heard the time. It's ludicrous to suggest that he wouldn't hear anything. Alright. Prosecution! That's the word. Okay, there we go. I've remembered the term used to describe the other lawyer, so it's the prosecution, not the offence. There we go. Prosecution. There we go. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Probably? What do you mean probably? Didn't you know? There was only one large television. Right. I can't put my finger on it, but something about this seems fishy. Something about hearing the television. The power cut. There was a power cut. He's saying the television was on. Present. Blackout. Yeah, there was a blackout. From noon, he said he went into the apartment. So he changed his story from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. to line up with the autopsy, but he hasn't accounted for the blackout, which was from noon to 6 p.m. So take that, you motherfucker. This record proves it. Getting sweaty again. Oh. His toupee came loose a little bit. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. That, and you seem rather distraught. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. Wait. Wait. Hang on a sec. You saw a clock? I guess that would explain it. This is not a very good judge. This judge is very bad at his job. Typically in a court hearing, in a hearing, the lawyer's job is to assist the decision making of the judge, not to do his job for him. But in these games, the judge is borderline incompetent. Actually, oh, I like the music. It's getting more intense now because we're getting close to a conclusion. I saw it. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. Press. The murder weapon? Yes, the table clock that was used as a weapon. That's what I just said. Did you doze off in the middle of my testimony? Pretty sure it was a statue. It was this statue right here. Submitted as evidence. A statue in the shape of a thinker. It's rather heavy. Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was this statue. Now, how is this supposed to be a clock? Oh, here comes the intense music now. With your objections and your evidence. Neck is a switch. You just tilt it and it says the time out loud. And it doesn't look like a clock. I submitted it as a statue. My apologies. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with this testimony now? Yes. Your Honour, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Clearly a contradiction. Because he went into the apartment. You were in the apartment. Prove I went in there. I do better than that. I can prove you were the one who killed her. You struck her with the clock. And, okay, so we have basically just... Phoenix Wright is like he's simultaneously a defense lawyer and an opportunistic, like, prosecution lawyer. Like, you see what I mean? Like, this is not a court hearing to prosecute this man. This is a court hearing to defend Larry Butts. This is not how like courtrooms actually do their shit. But, you know, for the sake of like drama and storytelling, this is how they're choosing it to play out. Mr. Sawit, the sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time. Just look at the witness's face. Facial expressions are not evidence. That wouldn't work in real life, but okay. Clock. I heard no. I mean, I saw. No! Yes, rip off your hair. Good. You claim the sound of the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? Yes, Your Honour. The sound Mr. Sowett heard was definitely this clock, a fact which is clear. Okay. Examine the clock's batteries, ask the neighbours, try sounding the clock. It's not going to be the middle one, that's insane. Try hearing what sound does the clock make. Let's sound the clock. Now, here in court. It's 8:25. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. He is the thinker, after all. Oh, I see. So it's like a gimmick novelty clock that doesn't just look. It's not just like a visual gimmick. It's also an audio gimmick. Okay. What time is it now? 11:25. It's 3 hours off. As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Sowett heard and the actual time of death. Well, it may seem like the clock is running 3 hours slow. It proves nothing. How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case. Mr. Wright, it just seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. We'll end this video in a minute. I think we're very close to finishing this first chapter. Oh no! Drama! Try thinking out of the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason and you'll have your proof. Right. Can you think of a reason as to why the clock would be 3 hours slow? Let's check the court record. Passport. The victim apparently arrived home from Paris day before the murder. Could it be that it was a souvenir from Paris? Is that why it's running at a different time? She hadn't changed it over? Model. She lived in an apartment by herself, so she... So the day before she arrived back home from Paris, it's possible she either took the clock with her, or it was a souvenir from Paris that she just hadn't changed back to local time. Possibly. We're going to go with that. Yes. Maybe I can prove it. The day of the murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim? There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Just slip the passport. Take that. There we go. So we all know the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. When it's 4 PM here, it's 1 AM the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast! The victim hadn't reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead in the apartment was wrong. Should I say, Mr. Did It? That's terrible, Phoenix. He's frothing at the mouth. Oh my god. Oh. You see what I mean? These games have like really good writing. They're written intelligently. They're also funny. The characters are like fun and likable as characters, not as people necessarily. And we haven't even been introduced to the best character yet. We haven't been introduced to Edgeworth. Like, Edgeworth is the best character in these games. He is, like, secretly the best character in the whole franchise. Like, he doesn't show up until, I want to say, chapter 3, I think? I think he doesn't show up till chapter 3. I think chapter 2, you're still going up against Pain here, I think. It's been a long time. Not guilty. When Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Sowit let himself in to do his dirty work. Ah, Larry left the door open. If Larry hadn't left the door open... So, oh well. So, he was robbing her. I see, he was a burglar. She came home and she found him. Mr. Sowit grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. Hit her over the head. I was going to say, these, like, court proceedings are really fucking, like, a really fast turnaround. Typically for a murder trial, it takes months before someone is convicted or found innocent or whatever. Like, this is literally 2 days after the murder and they've already gone through the entire trial. Like, that's not how it works in real life. That shit takes months, sometimes years, depending on, like, the size of the case. Good. Wait, no, I mean, bad. Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Windy's gone. Dude, she was fucking cheating on you with other men, like... It was not meant to be, even if she survived. Ah, they called him Harry, not Butts. That's nice. The game still calls him Butts, though. The game won't give him that privilege of calling him by his first name. Here's the murder weapon as a present. Here you go, take it. It's the fucking... Not a... No... Thanks for finding me innocent. Here's the murder weapon. Okay, so it's like an exact copy. Okay. He's not actually just giving her the murder weapon. It's just a replica, because he has one exactly the same. Squeeze me? How do you know? Something that proves how... Oh god, Attorney badge, Cindy's autopsy report, statue? Something that proves how she thought about him. Is it the statue? Because he did say he made them. He made them. And he gave one to her as a present. And she did take it with her to Paris with her. And she brought it back. So she clearly cared about it. Maybe it's the statue. It's not the passport. It's probably the statue. Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't just some chump to her. Yep, I was right. I mean, she could just wear a wristwatch. Didn't have to take a big heavy clock with her. Okay, that's the end of chapter 1. And then we'll call it there. That's the end of the video. Pretty sure he's not going to pay me. Unless you can't. I'm pretty sure he has to by law. Like, unless you're like a public defense lawyer. That clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. And my promise to tell the chief about me and Larry would be one promise that I wouldn't be able to keep. Okay, chapter end. Yeah, this game is good. This game is really good. Turnabout Sisters. Chapter 2 has been unlocked, or a new episode. Anyway, that is a look at the original Phoenix Wright for the DS. And yes, I know while it is not technically it did not start on the DS. This is a port of a Game Boy Advance game. The vast majority of people who played this game at the time probably played it for the first time on DS. So it gets a position as an honorary DS game, in my opinion. It is, and also the DS version is like significantly better in many ways than the original Game Boy Advance version in terms of like content, in terms of like I think screen resolution, because the DS screens, even though they're very low resolution, they are still slightly higher resolution than the Game Boy Advance, I believe. Not by much, but it's there. But yeah, this is the original Phoenix Wright is a fantastic game. It is a fantastic game that set up a very popular and still going franchise. If you have not played these games, get a hold of the remaster versions, because those are the versions to play if you have never touched the DS originals, because all of the things I mentioned about the remasters and how to someone like me they're a little bit lacking, that shit's not going to affect new players at all. That shit's just going to go straight over your head and you're just going to be too busy having fun. You're not going to have the horrible sickness that I have in my intense desire of like exact replica, you know, or like, oh, it has to be the original artwork only and no AI upscaling, and that just simply wasn't possible in order to get those remasters out. So yeah, I really like, these are good. These are very good games. So God, I should play through this game again. I should play through all of this game again. I should force myself to play the remastered version, because having to set up this fake DS every time would be a pain in the arse. So anyway, let's return to our top 10 list and let me add Phoenix Wright to my top 10 list, because this is in my top 10 list. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney lives, God, why does it keep bringing over the number? At number 5 on my top 10 list. It's the halfway point. I adore the original Phoenix Wright, but there are at least 4 other games for the DS that I like even more. All right. Join me next time, where we will take a look at 2 more original DS games and maybe fill out the top 10 list a little bit more. Thank you for watching. My name is therealbluedragon. Goodbye.